this month, we have taken a look at creating a life that is fulfilling, that is not hard work, that just flows. And I have said these particular points. Live from certain spiritual principles, apply certain spiritual practices, and then leave the rest up to the divine. It's the ultimate let go and let God. We need to know the what's so that the universe, God, intelligence, consciousness can do the hows for us. That's not our job. Our job is to know exactly what it is that we would like in our lives. Life really can work, and it does work. Even in those moments when it sure doesn't look like it, it's still working. Because we're not talking only about the human realm, we are talking about the divine realm, where everything is in perfect order. Everything is in harmony with itself. So, over the weeks, we have collectively defined a life that works as one which we feel deeply connected to Source. Most important connection, relationship we can have. We have dynamic, vibrant, and radiant health. We are in the flow financially. Synchronicities happen all around us. We have a loving, solid relationships, and that could be with ourselves, most importantly, actually. We are at peace and happy. We are joyously sharing our talents and our gifts. We love the work we do and the life that we live. We are serving and giving to others. We have care and compassion for others. And we are living in the now moment, right here, right now. And we see that life works, not only for ourselves, but for everyone. We hold this picture in our mind that life is working out exactly as it is supposed to. And we just keep our connection, our alignment to that flow of divine energy going all the time. Now, we're going to bring this month to a close by discussing living from certain spiritual principles and engaging in certain spiritual practice, both of which lead us to living the best life we can. And then we leave the rest to God. We leave it to God. The spiritual principle we discussed today is the universe is a whole lot smarter than you think. And it's a lot smarter than you are. We think we know everything, don't we? We know so little. The universe is a whole lot smarter. Intellectually, I think that we might get that. But I love what Holmes tells us in the Science of Mind book about that. We comprehend the meaning of the infinite intelligence only to a small degree. And that is so true. We are not even aware of the infinite impact, the infinite creation and creator that is always, I like to say behind the scenes, but is the scenes, is in us, is out of us, is everywhere. And for a moment, I want us to think we can expand our view of the meaning of infinite intelligence. And I'd like your help on this maybe. What does the concept of infinite intelligence mean to you? Say it out loud. Infinite intelligence. Say it loud, I can't hear you.
Infinite intelligence.
What does it mean?
Doesn't it?
Wisdom.
Anything else?
Endless possibilities.
What's that?
Endless
Endless responsibility?
Possibilities. Yeah.
They're the ones that are responsible for those endless possibilities to take place in our lives, right? So the universe is a lot smarter than we think we are. Holmes also continued, we comprehend the meaning of infinite intelligence only to that small degree, but because we are spiritual beings, we do sense the presence of an intelligence which is beyond human comprehension, an intelligence which is great enough to encompass the past, to understand the future, and to be the creator of all that is to unfold in our lives. It is the cause of everything that has been, that out of which must unfold everything that is to be. And I love this that he also wrote. In the beginning of any creative series, there is absolute intelligence alone, pure spirit, all-knowing, all-inclusive, everywhere, infinite. When we think of this, what comfort it brings us, so we are never alone, because there is this power that exists, that created us and that created everything that is. And our little small little planet, this dot of a planet, and our little really microscopic point on that planet is so small compared to the infinite, compared to that which created galaxies and galaxies upon galaxies, more than we could ever know, more than we could ever know. That's what we have to always know, is eternal, is the truth of who we are, and the truth of everything. It really is. So I have a little story. It's a story of scientists. These scientists were, after many papers and much discussion, they concluded that they know all the secrets of life. Thus, God is not necessary. One of the scientists is commissioned to go and tell this to God. The scientist gets an audience with God and tells her that she is no longer needed, since humans can now create life, etc. God smiles and says, "Show me." The scientist bends over to pick up a handful of earth when God interrupts. "Oh no, get your own earth." So, there's a meaning in that. You can't create without that which is already created. The great creator of all that is. We can't create that way. I don't care what science is. They're trying to prove God, which is wonderful. I hope they do. I want to hear what they say. But it's like God said, you can get your own soil. You can't use my soil. I created that. So in a great book, The Revealing Word by Charles Fillmore, he wrote, "The next proclamation of scientific minds will be that one directive intelligence is an essential cause of a harmonious universe." Spiritually, this is a foundational belief in our teachings too. These words of Ernest Holmes sums it up so perfectly. If we look at the many millions of forms, all different shapes, all different colors, we are not compelled to accept the fact that intelligence is the ultimate creative agency of the universe. How could we outdo that which has created all that is? That which we can't even see. We're only three-dimensional, most of us. I know one or two in here who might be in the fifth dimension. Seriously. And so then we are very, very limited in our human scope. Very limited. So let's embody that idea and take it deeper with us this morning with this statement. Divine intelligence is the ultimate creative agency of the universe, and it knows more than I do. And there is a second piece to this spiritual principle. Critically important to our education of creating a life that works without all the hard work. Growing up, you might have been told you have to work hard, to get anywhere in this world. You have to work. God, I don't remember hearing that. I just remember hearing it's a tough world. It's a hard world. But, so I never, when you set your intention and you really, really let go and go with that flow, the most amazing things manifest in your life. Because it's working on your feeling, your mind, what you truly would like to experience in life when you find out what it is you would truly like to experience in life. Remember the times when you didn't know? Most people don't know really what they want to experience and feel. They think they know, but because they don't have a correlating feeling that matches it, they cannot manifest it. So it's very important to have that what with a feeling. So even though the infinite intelligence knows more than I do, it lives, moves, and has its being in me and works through me. Repeat this after me. Infinite intelligence lives in me.
Infinite intelligence lives in me.
Works with me.
Works with me.
And creates as me.
And creates as me.
If that is the spiritual principle, then what is the spiritual practice? We've been talking about this all month. So the spiritual practice, of course, it's letting go of control. That's the name of the talk today. Letting go of what we think only we can do. And what are we really letting control of? The how, the outcome, other people. So they don't know how to do it right. I have to do it myself. It has to be done in a certain way. Ideas of what is and what isn't possible. We are so limited. A lot of people are, we're not. Because we know it's an infinite universe. We do know that. So we're not really limited. Only if we think we are. What is the one thing we do have control over, though? We have control over our own consciousness, which happens to be a combination of these things. And this is the individual consciousness. It's not the divine consciousness. Our thoughts and our spoken word, we have control over what we think and what we say, which impacts our feelings, which then shapes our attitudes and beliefs and values, which in turn informs our actions and reactions. And that's how we live our lives. But it always will start with the thought, with the spoken word. Always. We talked about words last week. How many of you remember the movie The Robe? If I didn't have this little piece of paper written down all of a sudden, I wouldn't either. You do kind of. In 1953, it won a whole bunch of Academy Awards. It was Richard Burton and Gene Simmons. Well, anyway, this movie tells the story of a Roman military tribune who commanded the unit that crucified Jesus. It was nominated, as I said, for a bunch of Academy Awards. And there's an interesting story that goes with this in regards to the making of Jesus's robe. And he wore a robe that was seamless. They didn't have seams, okay? The real robe that Jesus wore, as I said, were seamless. So to preserve the authenticity, a professional hand weaver and her daughter were hired to make the garment on their loom. It was to be an authentic reproduction for those traditionally worn in Judea at the time of Jesus. The actual weaving took 36 hours, and the weaver and her daughter felt it was a sacred task, very sacred. The robe completed, they were about to deliver it to the studio with just 16 hours left to meet the producer's deadline. But a disaster occurred. The small son of the weaver's daughter was seen with a pair of scissors and a piece of fabric. And no one had seen him pick up the scissors and do anything. Well, now, what to do? We only have 16 hours left, and that took 36 hours. Distraught, they prayed. They prayed about finding a speedy replacement. And although there was obviously not nearly enough time for them to complete the duplicate, they surrendered. They surrendered their preconceived notion that there was not enough time. And they just began weaving again. They let go. And they began immediately to create another robe. Incredibly, or not so incredibly, 9 hours later, the work was finished as beautiful as the first. Well, you might say they had practice. This was their second robe, right? Not so. Because after they delivered that, they came right home and they decided to make another one. Well, that one took 36 hours. So they released the attachment to the idea of a certain number. It's like they took a quantum leap, really. Because they're proving quantum leaps all over the place. They took that quantum leap and they made that emergency one without limitations or without looking at the clock in 9 hours. So it's what we believe and what we have faith in, and then letting go and letting God do the work. In those moments when there is nothing else for them to do, they let go. What a powerful example of creation rather than control. They didn't have to control this, they just worked. They created. Diane Harmony, in her book, 5 Gifts for an Abundant Life, wrote this: when we let go and let God, we are in the midst of a spiritual practice so powerful that the core beliefs that have held us captive and small can be dismantled. Resistance to our good can melt away. Fear of the unknown can be shattered. A sense of a oneness with God and all life can be embodied. And a whole new world of infinite possibilities can open to us. Have you ever had that experience where you just let go and say, I myself cannot do this? And then have it all work out better than you could have ever imagined? It's pretty amazing, and I'm sure if we've done that, we realize how amazing that is. So how's this for a statement? As I let go and let God, a whole new world of infinite possibilities opens up for me. As I let go and let God, a whole new world of infinite possibilities opens up for me. And so we rely on the spiritual principle that there is an intelligence in this universe infinitely greater than ours, but that we are immersed in and one with, and it is ready to create through us, for us, at any time. So let's repeat this after me again. Infinite intelligence lives in me.
Infinite intelligence lives in me.
It works through me.
It works through me.
And it creates as me.
And it creates as me.
When we engage in the spiritual practice of letting go, knowing that we are safe, loved, and protected and provided for, all things are possible. They truly are possible. And a lot of times we do this in the most upsetting times in our life, where we can't figure it out. We can't figure out the answer to this. And we say, God, do this. I let go. And it's the most amazing things start to take place. Amazing. And everything flows. When we get out of the way, it flows. This sounds a whole lot better than leaving the rest to. In other words, no, it doesn't sound better. This whole thing sounds so true to us. It really does. Leaving the rest to, and in other words, trusting God. When we do this, we create a life in which we are deeply connected to Source. We have a personal relationship with the infinite. If you don't, it is the most important thing you can possibly do for yourself. Develop that relationship. Do it in meditation. Do it in sacred reading. There are many ways to do it. We have dynamic, vibrant, radiant health. We are in the flow financially. Synchronicities just happen. We have loving, solid relationships. We are at peace and happy. We joyously share our talents and our gifts. We love the work we do and the life we live. We are serving and giving to others. That whole law of circulation is vital. It really is. We don't have to cling to and try to control everything. Just the law of circulation, receiving and giving, both are important. We are serving and giving to others. We have care and compassion for others. We are living in the now moment. This is the only moment that exists, and is always the now moment. So, this is the end of that whole series of really not having to work hard for a fulfilling life that we've been talking about every week. And we do all this without the need to control. We don't have to know how it gets done. Simply let it go and let the universe create for us, through us, as us, because that's what it does. When we get out of the way, we're in the way. We're blocking the flow of life when we think we know how to do it. We are blocking the flow of life. And just know very clearly the what of what you desire. What is it you desire? Feel the feeling of what you desire. What does it feel like? I've told you this many times, the universe thinks in pictures, and it does. It doesn't think in words, it thinks in pictures. So feel that picture, and let the divine, who is us anyway, but even more, move through us and help us to create that life that really fulfills us. And so it is.
So it is.